Welcome back to the High Ticket AI Systems Podcast. Everyone, please welcome the one and only Mr. Larsen Wallace. Larsen, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, sir. Now, for those of us that don't know the name just yet, can you give us an overview of exactly like what the company does and who you guys serve best?
Yeah, I'll start with my intro real quick. So my name is Larsen Wallace. I'm the co-founder and managing partner at Alai Partners, and we are a technology consulting and software engineering firm focused on delivering AI-driven solutions to small and mid-market manufacturers. So that's the very broad stroke, but we can dig in wherever you'd like.
Yeah, let's dig in because I know AI solutions and no, not to be negative at all. Super broad term,
Yeah.
right? You might give us like one or two specific examples so we can digest that?
Yeah, so maybe I'll first start with how we structured the company and how we built it, because I think it gives good insight to how we approach work.
Absolutely.
So when we set out our Andrew and I's primary goal, we have three co-founders. It's myself, Andrew Head, and Daniel Lund. But Andrew and I set out initially, and we knew that in order to really stay ahead of this race, obviously the AI agency marketplace is quite populated nowadays. We knew that we needed to have a very strong technology background and foundation. So we were able to bring in a director of engineering from a publicly traded tech company who's our acting CTO, another co-founder. And then every engineering hire that we've brought on since then is that same degree caliber. And that's our technology arm. We have our consulting as well, which is made up of myself and Andrew. Andrew comes from Ernst& Young as a technology manager. He was there for about 8 years. And really, we wanted to create a one-stop shop to help mid-market manufacturers to transform their business at a much higher degree of speed, quality, and at a reasonable cost, right? So what we actually do is we get into these companies, we get boots on the ground, we understand exactly how they work, we understand the common pain points, opportunities that we have. There's some fractional CTO support, but basically we create a technology roadmap and help them execute on that, build the customized software, tools, platforms, whatever it may be to help them achieve their long-term strategy and short-term goals. Now that's still dodging the question a bit. What the heck do we actually do? So in the manufacturing space, I think we focus on kind of a few key areas. First and foremost is downtime. So it's a critical issue across manufacturers. If your machine goes down, then it's very expensive. So that's the first problem that we solve. We built a pretty robust tool that gathers all machine context, connects the data streams from that tool and or machine, and then actually predicts events and provides recommended steps on how to resolve any issues that come up. And so that's number one. Number two is another common pain point in the industry is employee turnover and retirement. So there's a lot of long tenured employees that have a wealth of information that they're leaving with. So how do we democratize that information and help de-risk and reduce the timeline to onboard new folks? So that's the second piece. And the third is the largest piece. A lot of these small and mid-market manufacturers don't have the level of analytics and visibility into their production floor that a lot of the enterprise groups do. So we take them from 0 to 1. We don't take them from 0 to agents and automation. We build the data pipelines, we clean their information so that we can basically layer in AI in a very high quality way that presents the right data, the right information to the right person at the right time. Absolutely.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the background before this for you specifically? And what was the mindset that you had when you made the pivot into manufacturing companies specifically? Because that is super niche. Like we don't really have a lot of people on the show that work in that industry, so I'm dying to know.
Yeah. So I have a very interesting background. I am a extremely curious mind, and I've bounced around quite a bit. So when I initially graduated college, I worked in commercial real estate in the greater New York area, specifically New Jersey. I was a leasing manager. I managed 2,400 apartments. That was all workforce housing. Learned a lot of lessons there. COVID hit. Went back to my home state of Colorado and actually got in with a textile startup. So they created custom chemistries like durable water repellents, antimicrobials, whatever it may be, and then mixed those and sent them to manufacturers so they could implement them into their products. And I was the lab manager. So I helped with chemistry composition. I helped with just making sure our lab techs had their schedule for the day. It was a form of project management, but was doing a lot of R&D. Didn't have a chemistry background, read about 15 textbooks over the course of that year, and had a lot of fun doing it. But I knew that I wanted to make my way into technology. So there's a company called Ibotta based out of Denver. They are essentially a rewards platform. They deliver cash back to consumers. They had a base of about 50 million users. And I came on as a project manager. So I was super lucky in that I came in as a project manager right when they had made a section of the business that was B2B. We basically white labeled our rewards to retailers, and I stepped into an implementation manager role and onboarded everyone from DoorDash, Instacart to Family Dollar, Dollar General, and got some really great exposure to what a B2B facing implementation plan looks like, feels like, and how you optimize it basically. So that was great. So coming to Alai Partners, I met Andrew in Charleston. We were fast friends, aligned on all walks of life, values, goals. We wanted to both break out and start our own business, exit the corporate world, which is always scary. But when you have a buddy, it's a little bit easier. The issue was we had no idea what the heck we were going to do. So we got into a room every Saturday. We call it our hacker house. That we'd brainstorm, research industries. We built a couple of consumer facing apps. Obviously, the consumer facing world is a lot different. Don't think we had the go to market and funding to really pursue those. But we looked at each other and we were like, hey, there is a ton of opportunity with our combined experience to go and consult, but we need a technology arm to build. So we figured that out. We got our first client shortly afterward. We signed a contract, formalized the business, and set up a bank account so we could accept a check. So we like to say we've been profitable since day one, which is great. Yeah. So we since then, I think when we set out, as you know, you're familiar with all these opportunities that exist with AI. We started broad market. I mean, the solutions are pretty. I mean, there's opportunity everywhere, right, across industries. When we signed our second, third, fourth client, they all happen to be manufacturers. And that was just the nature of our network at the beginning. But as we started to bounce from group to group, we saw the same issues persisting. And with the network that we have and the manufacturers that we work with, it's a pretty clear funnel for us from a referrals perspective. And we've gotten really good at it. Manufacturers are extremely challenging to not to work with. They're incredible people to work with, but their environments are hard. A lot of them are government contracted. A lot of them have really strict requirements from a CMMC perspective. So they don't have the same degree of freedom to implement as a lot of other industries. So we said to ourselves, if we can get really good at this, then we're going to do just fine.
No, that's awesome, man. Thanks for the backstory there. Question: before you had your first client, did you hire the CTO?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so I thought you got your first client, and you're like, "Fuck, dude, I like fulfill on the order now, so let me hire
Yeah.
the C."
Yeah,
Okay, but you did.
we it was kind of overlapped a little bit. I think the first conversation we had with the client, we were like, we're gonna say yes, but oh shit, we gotta we gotta find someone who can do this right. Because we had a couple of warm leads. This is interesting. I think every single company that we've worked with has either worked with or been contacted by two or more AI agencies. And we've had to clean up those messes on a few different occasions because they go from zero to agents and automation. The foundations need to be there for those things to work in perpetuity and last.
I imagine with your AI solutions, it's a fairly large ticket price, like over 10 or 15 maybe for your solutions, but a lot more. You don't have to give exact if you're not comfortable, but like my guess is like extremely large ticket.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they're fairly large in comparison to the groups that we would compare ourselves to from a quality perspective. I'm talking about the Palantirs, the Nvidias. We can probably extract 80% of the value that those massive orgs provide at a significant fraction of the price. So, I mean, that's how we sell, right? We know what their cost model is. The other thing is speed. But if I were to break down the numbers, we bill like a consultancy group. So we run on billable hours. We scope an effort. It could be 40 hours, it could be 600 hours, it could be 1,000 hours, but we bill on the hour. I'd say our average total contract value for each customer sits anywhere from 100 to 500K.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That makes a lot of
But
sense.
with that said, if we scope an effort, we may be bleeding hearts to a negative extent. If we meet with a company that's maybe on the smaller side, under 50 employees, and we see a huge opportunity, we will take a bet on them. So if they can't afford a 200-hour effort and we see that it could change their business, then we're going to figure out how to do it, basically. And we might need to get out of that at some point, but for the time being, we're building. Relationships matter more than money at the very moment, I guess.
100%. And I think in startup mode, you Alex makes this Hermosi makes this joke. It's like whenever you're like in startup mode, like you accept money from anyone who's willing to pay you. Like because you like
That's what
need
I, that's exactly what I say. I say, we're in the market of taking any money we can get, you know?
for sure.
I
And
think I think in 6 months it's gonna, it already looks different, but I think as we drill into manufacturing, it's gonna tighten up a little bit.
no, absolutely. And it's a pretty close, tight-knit group. I mean, I don't know if there's any networking events or conferences, but
Yeah,
I feel like you know your other manufacturers, your competitors, your friends, your buddies, whatever.
yeah,
If you're doing good work, like they're definitely gonna talk about your business, you know?
without a doubt. And that's, I mean, we're probably gonna end up talking about lead generation and all that at some point, but we're completely dependent on referrals. So no outbound, no marketing budget really, and it's working. It is a very tight knit community. If we deploy for one manufacturer in Lebanon, Ohio, the odds are that there are 5 manufacturers within a 10-mile radius from them is very high. So
Have
we're
you well, first let me ask this, and then we can pivot to lead gen. But the sales cycle, given the fact that it is a six-figure contract, what has been your experience between, like, initial contact and, like, actually sign deal?
6 months.
What do you do specifically during that 6-month time frame? 'Cause we can extract a lot of value from here. Like, is it value-based follow-up? What would you feel like is the cadence or the frequency that you follow up with super high ticket B2B? When you are following up, what is the message, the philosophy behind that? I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how aligned we are with working with that business. I think from a follow-up perspective, we of course are trying not to badger. If they are in a location that we're running a project in, then we pop into the office. We say, hey,
That's just gonna say that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Go for
we pop in, we say, hey, we ask them about what their concerns are. In a lot of the cases, it's just, it's budget planning and figuring out how to make it work. And every once in a while, we take on a little bit of risk. If we've had a session or multiple sessions with them ahead of contract send, then they go silent. We will build it and send it to them.
Mm.
And we try to be really safe about that because we run on billable hours. So it's a constant kind of tug and figuring out how much we're willing to spend up front. But I'll tell you what, they respond when we send those demos.
I bet your freaking ass they will.
Yeah.
That is probably in my opinion, the best form of a lead magnet. It's like, you wanna buy X product, let me give you X product for free as a sample, just so you can see it.
Yeah.
And then if you like it, like, you'll pay me. Or, like, maybe you have a different philosophy, or, like, you not half-ass build it. That's a horrible way to frame it. Like, you build it 50%, or you build it 75%, or maybe less than that. But just so they can actually see it and it's tangible, it's like, "This is badass." Because with technology, without, like, the ability to see the end result, it's, like, hard to, I guess, materialize that and, like, and put a
Yeah.
dollar. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Our strategy, like one of the key pillars is the wow factor. And whether they've gone silent or whether it's the first meeting, we want to put something in front of them because one of our key things is speed, right? Speed and quality. So we want to show them what we're capable of. And every time that we've done it, we've closed. And secondarily, we maintain the same contract that we initially started with. So contract value, timeline, basically. And we frame that as the reality. Like this is a POC. It's beautiful. It looks great. There's a lot of work to do in the back end to the point where we can leave it with you and it works in the long run. If we leave, we rarely do. We typically sign on for long term partnerships. But when you have that, you've built 75% of it. You've scoped a 4 to 6 week effort. You start day one with 75%. So now you can give them 150% of what they could have.
I like
And
that.
that's our tactic for what we call our phase zero. It's typically a discovery and a quick win effort that we deliver. We typically price those around 10K. If it's a big opportunity, we'll do it for free. My partners might slap me for saying that, but that's the reality. But yeah, we want to over deliver on that phase zero so we can move to the long-term partnership. We want to say, hey, we said 6 weeks, we did it in 3, we got 5 different features added, and what's next? You know?
No, seriously, when you over deliver on your promises, it builds so much goodwill and more importantly, trust. And now that you have significant trust, it's like they're willing to pay more than previously because you did the job correctly and it was a damn good one. Now, I trust you. Take more money, you know? And you were saying that there's really three major solutions that you provide to companies. Do you find yourself like starting with one and then upselling and possibly cross-selling as trust has been built and they love product?
Yeah, so it kind of depends. So when we initially set out, I guess first and foremost, manufacturers are very, from a sector to sector perspective, are very different. Every unique manufacturer is unique in their processes, capabilities, data, what it looks like. So at the beginning, it's always establishing foundations. It's like let's understand, let's get in there. We are extremely invested in being on the site and in person, first meeting to the last. So that's our edge. We're going in and we're spending time. A month ago, I worked on the floor for a week and a half just as an operator. I spent time at each shift understanding the detailed process. Every time we do that, they say we're the first consultants to ever do that for them. But
Wow, I'm pretty shook about that as well. Hats off.
yeah, I mean, I love that stuff. You know, I want to get in there, get my hands dirty. But when we typically set out, it's establishing foundations. Our initial strategy at the beginning of this venture was what we called the Alai flywheel. So we have our consulting arm. We're going out, we're getting real world experience, understanding real world problems within an industry. We develop solutions, retain IP, and we always keep the customization there, but we build product features that essentially increase our margin by reducing the time spent. So we typically end up building what we call intelligence platforms for them. And we have, for example, a downtime assistant that usually reduces downtime by about 20%. We have a lot of that built already. So we're going to show them our modules that are quick wins and they can choose from those. But in reality, it varies. Like I think if we're being contacted by a company that is just curious about AI and want to understand what they can do, our approach is different than a company coming to us and saying, "Hey, this is a huge pain point for us. How do we solve it?"
Because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
You're first dabbling in AI. It's like I don't even know what the hell I need. Like, what are all the options out there? Like,
Yeah,
fill my with info. You know.
yeah, and our perspective, and this is the reality. This is the reality. Small and mid-market manufacturers, but companies in general in those markets are more interested in technology than ever before in history, I would say. I think the harsh reality, although it's AI that they're really excited about, they need help adopting and implementing tools and technology that has existed for the last 20 years. Behind from AI, they're behind generally speaking. So we're focused on, I've said it 5 times already during this conversation, but it's not it's not 0 to AI, it's 0 to 1 in foundations. And then because the surface level implementations of implementing LLMs and agentic systems, and might I say, agentic systems at large scale are incredibly challenging to be successful with, I think, until you've developed the foundation.
On that note of agentic AI, maybe you can provide some insight. But I use Claude Code. I'm pretty sure you and I work in two very different worlds. But like, what LLMs and like models are you using to perform or to execute these AI solutions?
So internally, we're a Claude house, Claude Cursor. I mean, we're a small team and we're an agile team, so we are very up to speed on new options, new opportunities within each
Fables,
stack.
Fables coming back tomorrow. Sorry, I had to inject.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
but
They just, I was like, that was a quick launch and takeaway.
I was so pissed. But it's coming back.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
Yeah, so we'll use those. And from an external perspective, I think it's very dependent on the client security posture.
Okay.
especially in manufacturing, if they're up against a lot of compliance. I mean, for manufacturers, we develop fully on-prem, pre-trained open source models. So they're air gapped, they're on premises, and that can vary by use case. Like one of our clients uses it for R&D, so there needs to be robust kind of OCR systems. There needs to be a few math models in there, but it can vary inside Cloud House mainly.
Open source, correct me if I'm wrong, it's you can use other models that aren't the latest for, like, significantly cheaper. Is that how that works? Or is it am I far-fetched?
No, no, that's it. They're not necessarily cheaper. I guess in the long term, you will get return on investment, but we're purchasing pretty heavy duty hardware from NVIDIA to run these models. But you can get a NVIDIA DGX Spark, which is basically like a Mac Mini, but the thing hums, and you're paying for power, and that's it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I imagine excuse my language, a lot of processing power for what you guys are doing. Like you said,
Yeah.
agentic, like, scale.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like you hear a lot about agent cost in the market right now, especially in enterprises. They're like, if you're not spending at least the equivalent of your salary in tokens, then what are you doing? I think that's wild. It's like if I'm spending 200K on tokens per individual, I better see some pretty crazy stuff. We better be screaming from a revenue perspective, and it's hard to measure. You know,
No, for sure. With lead gen, so primarily it is referrals. Is that like a steady not a steady flow, but, like, could you say month over month that we get, like, 2 referrals a month or one referral a month?
it's up and down because we're early. It can be a slower churn. With referrals, I think you got to wait for the right time to ask with the clients. You want it to follow an incredible delivery or milestone in the project. So it's a slower churn right now. I think from the quality of client that we get from it, it's super sound, which is great. So we'll see. I definitely foresee that strategy changing a little bit. We have pretty large goals in the long run. So that strategy will probably adjust.
I think referrals are a great way to enroll clients because I believe they enroll at, like, 80 something percent because trust is
Yeah,
already there. For
exactly.
from our experience, if you're in operation scale mode, you just have to open up more doors, but, do you also partake in, like, networking events or conferences at all to shake hands?
We've talked about it a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'll stop. It's like every time that we find a conference that seems like it fits, we're too busy to go right now. Maybe that's a problem.
It's
There's
a
a
busy?
conference. What's up?
Good busy?
Good busy. But good busy maybe is bad if you're neglecting other things just on client work. So there's always a balance that needs to be striked.
Actually, if you don't mind, because you have 3 co-founders, how do you guys divvy up responsibility? The CTO guy is primarily, the technology arm, but with you and Andrew, right?
Yeah.
How does that part work?
We're figuring it out a little bit.
I respect that answer, actually. I respect that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think that Andrew and I are both really skilled in our individual areas. Andrew is an absolute killer when it comes to accounting, finance, long-term financial strategy, all of that stuff. He's great with broad business strategy. But as of now, we are the primary business functions in the company. So all back office operations, handling all hiring, everything like that. But more importantly, we are client facing. We are running the projects and implementations as implementation managers for each of the clients that we work with. I'd say that if I were to divvy us up, Andrew generally focused on the broader market opportunities, broad industry. I'm more focused on manufacturing. As we grow that base, that will kind of even out between us as we continue to niche down into manufacturing. But we have I think, a very good balance. He is a very tactical, hard worker. The kid works like 14 hours every day at the least. He's one of those guys where you sit next to him and you could be having a conversation with him for an hour and he's just on his computer banging out 15 other things.
I wish I could multitask like that and, like, have a
No, yeah.
conversation. Like, I cannot do that
Yeah.
shit. I'm like, I'm working or I'm talking. There's no nothing.
Yeah. And luckily I think that some sort of more formal hierarchy could come into play, but we're not seeking venture capital. We're not, and we are doing really well. And I think that we run on the EOS traction strategy. So you can bet on us being extremely aligned on what we're looking for quarter to quarter, month to month, year to year. So there hasn't been any issues with how we operate.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I feel like it's really important who you bring on within the company from a co-founder perspective, from a leadership perspective. Like you said, you and Andrew hit it off pretty well from day one. Fantastic. If you hate your business partner, shit's going south, simply put. And I also feel like if this person has extreme strengths, which are my weaknesses, and I, vice versa, have extreme strengths with their weaknesses, I feel like the company can go a lot farther. I was always the type of person to, I guess, bring on individuals because they had the same skill set as I, and we thought very similarly, which is good for a sales and marketing role. But for another role, like account manager, as an example, I don't want that person to be like, just because I'm like not the best suited for that role. Like obviously like it performs well, but I know with other personality types, we can have a better model with a different personality. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
You just learn through mistakes. But
Yeah.
I know we're wrapping up on time here, my friend. Maybe two or three more questions. Looking out over the next 12 months, where would you love to see the company? And what does that look like visually?
Yeah, I think, I mean, there's two different answers I can give you. I can give you the answer of what we wrote down on our 1, 3, 5, 10 year plan. I think what's in there is we've scaled the company to 3 million in annual revenue with a headcount of 10 to 15. That's a very tactical answer, I guess. If you were to just ask me as a friend, I mean, first and foremost, I hope we're delivering with the same degree of quality and speed that we are now. We're alive, we're happy, we're doing good work, and we're making money doing it. I mean, that's what we can hope for now. We're young, we're hungry, so we're just going to keep moving day by day, and as long as we know what the goalpost is, which we do now, then I think we'll get.
No doubt in my mind, you guys are gonna make it. Like whatever the hell the goal is, there's no doubt in my mind you guys are gonna get it.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate that, man.
No, for sure. And then I love to ask this question because you never know what kind of answer we're gonna get. But looking back over your life, what is the single best piece of advice you've ever received? And if you need to, you can take your time.
Don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing.
I haven't heard that before, but I really like that. I really like that one. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
You why I was talking to some person about this. It was a girl to be exact. But I was talking to this person about this and I was like, if you are not going to attempt to be the best and to give it your best effort, why even try at all? Like you're letting yourself down. And that's my belief, of course, but I think it coincides with exactly what you just said.
yeah, it's. I think it's really true. And you know what? I think the things that you dedicate yourself to frequently bring you the most happiness. I mean, it's so common to hear, but it's like, did you try your hardest? As you did, you're probably looking back smiling in most cases. And boy, if I tell you that's what we're doing right now, we're working our butts off, but we're having so much fun. If this crashes down in 5 years, I'm still going to be as stoked as I am now. I'll probably be a little sad, but
Sure.
I'm
But you
not
can
worried
look
about
back
that happening.
and say, right, never, no negativity, no block all negativity. But yeah, man, like worst case scenario, looking back, you're gonna say, I tried, I gave it my all. What more do you want from me? And I feel like that's where like pride, like pride comes in, like self confidence, or I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever the hell fucking term you want to put in there. But the overall grit, it's like I did that, I gave it my
yeah,
all.
that's
That
one
was
of our
a
values is grit. Yeah, I think the other thing, I mean, I think we all have a lot of pride in what we've built, and a lot of companies preach transparency. That is at our core. With every group that we work with, we fundamentally care about them and want them to take the best route possible, and we'll tell them what that is, regardless of whether or not it's with us or with someone else. And when you operate like that, life becomes super. When you're on the floor of these manufacturers talking with the guys that are in some cases freaked out about AI, and you get to understand them and hedge their concerns and all that. I don't know. I could ramble on, but I'm just super proud of what we're building because it feels honest, it feels right, and manufacturing matters. So
you can hit your head can hit the pillow that night and realize you're not fucking nobody over. You're
yeah,
doing it good
we're doing
because
a good thing. Yeah.
Larson, if they wanted to talk shop with you furthermore, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us at alaipartners.com, ALAI partners.com. You can always catch us on LinkedIn, and hopefully I get to hear from some of you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jordan.